Hello, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to our new episode of IndieCast. Today, I am here with my mother, as Jay has been busy, and he will join us too in our next few episodes. So today, my mom is filling in his position. So we are going to have a loose conversation about life, about how things have been going, and about the economy, the future, and all of that. So, Ma, let's get your opening thoughts. What do you want to talk about?
I have nothing particular in mind, and as you know, that I talk more out of my experiences in life than what I read and the datas that circulate around or the writers. I mean, all various podcasters have to say. I have my own opinions, so whatever you ask me, I will answer it according to how I perceive things around me and what my experiences and struggles of life has taught me. So
Okay,
let
fine.
it be just a conversation between a mother and son, and we'll see how it goes. You can
Fine,
ask me
yeah.
whatever
I
you want.
think we'll continue the conversation we were having before we started recording. There's been a assumption that the AQI has become slightly bad in Delhi after the conclusion of Diwali festival. So what do you have to say about that? Do you think the AQI is actually that bad? Do you think fireworks are a crucial part of Diwali? Do you think they find a philosophical root somewhere? Because you've been seeing the festival for years, right? You've been seeing it since the 70s. How has it changed over time? Uh,
Um,
Keep the mic
my
closer to your. Please.
my controversial take, but
You don't
my
have to be controversial, just be yourself.
if I have to be
But you are
myself, I
controversial,
will be
yeah.
controversial because I cannot alienate that aspect from me because I don't say because I don't say what I say because it appeals to the masses. I say what I feel like, and I feel maybe see there's nothing like
Yeah, I mean there are 700
full
people.
truth,
There are
half
700
truth.
people who watch us roughly, so it's not even going to the masses. Hopefully.
No, no. For me, okay, let that be mass for your in your case. 700 is the mass. Okay, so what I'm just trying to say, there's nothing like before I say what I say. There's nothing like full truth. There's nothing like half truth. I mean, There's nothing like full truth. There's half truth. There's post truth. So what I'm trying to say is that don't let your environment be so fragile that one day of festivity and firecrackers get you to the brink that you have to, stop this age old tradition of firecrackers and celebration. That is my point. And AQI certainly must have gone bad. I'm not saying that. I'm not also encouraging firecracker. What I'm trying to say that please do something larger, something deeper, something more far-reaching, so that one day of festivity and firecracker doesn't put you in tizzy and you don't go crying hoarse that AQI kharab ho gaya, Diwali is responsible. That's my take because all
No,
our
that's a
lives we've
fair
seen.
position, honestly.
Yeah.
I think the error variable from one bad day of pollution on the air should not create such a larger impact on the AQI and all of that. मुझे
Absolutely.
कभी कभी ये भी लगता है जैसे construction dust, road dust, and Jay and I did a very long episode on this last year when the pollution time really got bad. These things are factors that take all year round efforts. So just to come on the day and the week before Diwali and
And blame
say,
it all on Diwali. That's
yeah,
not fair.
actually the core of air pollution actually lies in poor urban planning also,
Yeah.
and our bad policies and our inability to reform our very risk averse agriculture sector. So, and
Absolutely.
these factors, if you don't solve them year round and just think about AQI as a problem that will come in end of October, early November, then I think it's a little lazy. Then ऐसे तो फिर कोई फेस्टिवल नहीं मनाना चाहिए, because the counter argument to all this is that the travel, the movement, some other kind of fossil fuel usage, and even firecrackers, they generate jobs, they give business to a lot of families, and on top of all that, if your urban planning, if your systems can't even handle one day of fireworks, तो मतलब लानत है ऐसे system पे. It's
Absolutely.
like
Another controversial take. But I do feel these easy EMIs should be put to an end because I mean people say कि EMI में भी तो पैसा देना पड़ता है मगर अगर EMI है that is why you're buying cars ना otherwise you would have given the lump sum and bought a 30 lakh or 40 lakh का car but it suits you to give that money in smaller portions and then buy the car maybe pay the money in 10 months time or it's always easier to pay the money in 10 months time than to pay immediately. Now, have you gone out
Just go
on
on,
the
just a second.
road?
I'm just gonna, yeah, keep talking.
Have you gone out on the roads and see the way the traffic is getting worse day by day? It's all happening because the cars every day are increasing in so many I mean it's so many more number
Yeah.
of cars are increasing every day. Somebody was telling me in Diwali alone how many cars were bought in Delhi.
Dhanteras ke around.
How
I
was
think
the
that
number
we,
total?
I don't even remember the number, but it was so large
It
that
was so large that probably
you
I've
and
not
I
even
will
heard
be
that much of digit
and
in a
you and I
long
will be
time.
mistaken to even estimate it because I think our estimate will still be conservative.
Yeah.
But the number of cars bought is huge. And Ma, what you're saying is quite thoughtful and important because not only is the easy availability of EMI letting people everything is like a subscription model, right? So even
Yeah.
cars have reached that.
Yeah.
So you are letting people procure vehicles for 15, 17,000 rupees a month,
Yeah.
and they don't have to make these large payments. So effectively, your affordability has not reached there, but you have added
An extra income,
that marginal, yeah.
extra expense in your, I mean, your in the budget, in
Yeah,
your
no,
personal
and
budget.
not even the leave aside the budget, the marginal pressure that every additional vehicle puts on the roads has been added
Yeah, we
because
have to
now it will
see.
affect parking spaces, it will affect very minor AQI changes that one car can also cause, and it will add to the larger pressures that our traffic has to deal with. Now, one before you start talking, I'll just finish up. One major issue that large metros are struggling with, whether even after the, for example, inauguration of the Dwarka Expressway in Delhi, or the MTHL in Mumbai, or the Namma Metro in Bengaluru. So these major infra projects are coming in these cities to aid urban mobility. Yet all these cities are still struggling with very bad traffic, and we are not doing enough to build the capacity to manage traffic. And EMI policies are allowing people to subscribe to these cars. I'm using the word subscribe intentionally for basically no payment at all. Ma, you were saying?
Yeah, I was saying, like, don't say that we're not doing enough. I've been living in Delhi for almost 17 years now. And I've only seen construction of metros around me, flyovers around me. The work has never stopped. The work not stopping is also adding to the AQI, the bad AQI. And on top of it, the cars are not ceasing in number. They're going on increasing in number. How much infrastructure can you
Yeah, no,
actually?
I agree with you that this is not a problem that infra will solve. I just said MTHL was built in Bombay, Namma Metro was built in Bangalore, Delhi Metro is probably one of the most successful metro examples in the world. So I'm saying the infra part has been done. I'm saying we are not doing enough from the banking side because we are incentivizing people to buy all these things that many times they can't even afford. So that is adding to the crowding and the pressures on the road without the infrastructure being able to proportionately catch up. That is a real problem because I drive very regularly. I drive in Delhi very regularly. I drive in Bhopal also. Bhopal has a very interesting problem which most smaller quote unquote tier 2 cities in India will start to see, is that cars, bigger cars, more swanky cars are being procured by the general public, and good for them. People are aspirational and incomes are rising, but more cars are being bought, and the city infrastructure, the urban planning of the city has not been able to keep up even at like one tenth of that pace. So what it has led to is very old single lane roads now will have SUVs by like Toyota. They will have e-rickshaws. They will have hundreds of
Thelas.
motorbikes
They'll have
and thelas
thelas.
and all
They'll
on
have
the road.
tempos with those what are those called? Those long rods popping out of
हाँ.
it. There'll
और
be
हम
cyclists with overburdened cyclists.
And everyone is from a different economic class. We are not grudging anybody, but some kind of planning and allotment of, see, like you do land use, you need to do some kind of planning for road use also. I think the BRT policy was a failure, but at least it was a start that you were trying to allot spaces in different
It
roads.
was not a
It
well thought of
Yeah.
start. It was just done for the sake of it. It was a utter misuse of your finances, your money. It was really a very
Yeah, ma,
foolish
but
thing to
what
do.
I'm saying is that at least something was, there was
No,
an
at least
attempt was made.
attempt make better, more informed and
I agree
researched
with you. I
attempts.
agree with you.
Not a wayward attempt कि आपने आधा रास्ता खा लिया, एक बस भी नहीं चल रही, लोग उसमें चढ़ भी नहीं रहे. What a utter wastage! And it remained, that BRT line, they remained at a place for maybe good about 2 decades.
आई थिंक पता है ना, EMI भी बंद करने से ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं होगा. यू कांट रियली quote unquote disincentivize car usage. Bans and all also don't work on anything. The only way to solve this problem is to make sustainable better public transport infrastructure. In Delhi metro
That I
already,
agree with you.
in
That I
metro
agree
Delhi
with you.
already
Yeah,
exists.
yeah.
In Bhopal and all, I don't think metro was required. Like we know Jaipur metro was a major failure, because in the smaller cities, I think you can just make good, better VIP buses which offer good end-to-end connectivity. So you don't have to dig into the existing road infrastructure. You don't have to do tunnel boring underground. You don't have to, damage the existing structure of major buildings. Yet you will be able to ensure a good public transport infrastructure. Now metro became a trend, so all state governments and big large urban development authorities wanted to build a metro in their own area. But I don't think a metro use case like Delhi will be established in any other city in India anytime soon, because Delhi was a very unique case. It is a large urban metropolis which was sprawling a huge area. For example, Bhopal is building a metro. I don't think it needs it. Jaipur built a metro, and I don't think it's serving any large population.
Can I say something
Yeah,
here?
yeah.
So, yeah, first of all, I mean, I'll tell you something what I've heard from my elders, and I've heard from my contemporaries who have been in this business of government, like they are generally, they are either from PSUs or they are bureaucrats themselves. When I used to hear them talk, they used to say no urban planning was done keeping in mind the changes that the city will undergo in the next 100 years. So basically, when you do urban planning or you do any kind of planning for the urban planning that you do for any city or town, you have to have a plan that will be sustainable for at least a century. If any plan is done on a knee jerk basis, that it is being done just because you have to prove something, you have to do something, you have a certain problem in hand in front of you, and you have to just take care of that problem, and you don't care about the problems that will arise henceforth, that is not your concern. Then only you make those knee jerk arrangements in society. So when people used to say this, I used to really wonder that people who did the planning maybe 50, 60 years ago, did they ever thought the kind of
Did they
economic
ever
change,
think?
did they ever think that this kind of economic boom will happen in India, and suddenly things will change to such an extent that, and like the generation which was actually planning, they probably were moving around in ambassadors and Fiats, and they had not even seen so many varieties of cars, and they were the ones who did the planning. And suddenly came an open economy, and you could buy the best of the cars in the world sitting here in India, and whatever, you had the buying capacity and you were doing it. Now comes the point कि कैसे planning करोगे 100 साल आगे की. That's where I feel the Bhopal metros and the small town metros will fit in. So I may be a little apocalyptic about the existence of metros in smaller states, but for all you know, maybe in future, in 10 years time, 20 years time, the same metros would be doing a lot of work,
Yeah,
and maybe carrying off the load from the road to the metros.
you are absolutely right. See, future work has to be incorporated. You have to have a vision when you move with things. But I also think that there is an element of how we do infrastructure policy in India, जहाँ पे हम लोग ना माँ अपनी every kind of decision is intertemporal. मतलब वो एक टाइम फ्रेम को अफेक्ट कर रहा है. आज भी एक एक एक्सिस पे आज, और एक एक्सिस पे हमारी फ्यूचर सेल्स को. So we need to acknowledge that a part of this intertemporal decision making has to be to upgrade and keep up our present infrastructure also. जब भोपाल मेट्रो की पहली कुछ लाइनें बनानी शुरू की, ये एग्जाम्पल क्योंकि हमने अपनी आंखों से देखा है, या फॉर एग्जाम्पल आई हैव लिव्ड इन दिल्ली फॉर 15-16 years नाउ, और आई स्पेंड टाइम इन भोपाल, तो इन दोनों जगहों पे जो एग्जिस्टिंग सड़कों पे डैमेज हुआ वो भी बहुत इनकन्वीनियंस कॉज करता है, और उससे भी जो मेंटल फिजिकल इमोशनल इम्पैक्ट जो लार्जर पब्लिक पे होता है वो भी बहुत सिवियर होता है. नाउ इन भोपाल मेट्रो ऑल्सो देर वॉज अ रोड विच इज़ राइट इन फ्रंट ऑफ द DB City Mall. There it was unserviceable almost for a good few days. Now what I'm saying is that you don't, I'm not saying don't build metros, I'm saying build it with a larger plan in mind.
Yes,
ये लोग
implementation
जैसे,
was,
yeah,
execution was wrong.
implementation execution is a problem, because even in Indore for example there is a metro station every 800-900 meters. Now that's not even a major distance for anybody to travel in the metro, especially when a city is still not that large.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, so these things in our policy need to be rethought, because imagine the amount of money that was being spent making these stations at very small gaps. Why can't you just use that funding to upgrade your existing infrastructure?
There comes in corruption, there comes in crony capitalism, there comes in, democracy and democracy's encumbrance of, satisfying some people, keeping some people happy, giving business to people who they've been supporting them. So a lot of factor comes in there.
हाँ,
So
इसमें
I do agree. These things, nothing is isolated. Everything is interlinked. So maybe the metro, I agree, the execution and implementation was wrong, and the points that you're making that every 700-800 meters has a metro station in Indore, that is absolutely ridiculous. That is when corruption and crony capitalism comes in, and that is where democracies need to survive on the doles that comes from the influential people and influential organizations of the society comes in, and that's when comes in quid pro quo, and that's when the metro kind of messes arise in the country.
Yeah, see, I agree with you. In fact, let's be pragmatic here. I'm not even saying that corruption will fully leave the system. I'm not saying that there will, yeah,
Corruption is
yeah,
integral world
let
over.
me
India is
finish.
not
Let me finish.
bereft. India
Uh,
is not special.
I'm finishing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying corruption will finish. I'm not saying that, totally bureaucrats will become forward looking or visionaries. I'm just saying that you give business to infra companies. You let lobbyists also make money. But at least the plans in which they are making money should serve some population also, right? It's not like lobbies don't exist around the world. But if you, for example, contract an infra company to, for example, do better waste management and make our cities more walkable, to build, to rebuild, or to do patchwork on our existing roads, to make better traffic management systems, these will still be large tenders. The infra companies will still make money, and the purpose will also be solved from a serving the public kind of view. What I'm saying is, नहीं, मेरी बात में इसलिए समझो कि इधर PPP टाइप चीज़ों का भी बहुत स्कोप होता है. मैं इसीलिए बस थोड़ा सा मतलब सिनिकल, सॉरी, बस लास्ट चीज़ खत्म करा. सिनिकल मैं इसलिए हो जाता हूँ कि लोग बहुत कम दिमाग लगाते हैं, एक ही दो, मतलब एक वो एबिलिटी होती है ना कि आप एग्जिस्टिंग सिस्टम को थोड़ा फ्लिप करके देखो, जस्ट लुक एट इट फ्रॉम अनदर एंगल. वो इंडिया में बहुत लैकिंग है. आई विल फिनिश नाउ, यू टेक एज मच टाइम एज यू नीड टू
No,
स्पीक.
I won't. You just talk a lot. Just be concise, and you don't let me speak at all. You said one point, and I catch on to that. You said that business do, infra companies ko business do. So maybe that has been going on, and I do believe that infra companies should be given that, like whoever is the supporter of that, but whatever. I'm not going to the detail, but if you're giving business to infra company, so just don't presume that one bad metro of one small town is a total reflection of what these infra companies are doing. In past, maybe they've done a very good job, because you were saying कि ऐसा काम तो करें ना जो larger good में हो, तो वैसे काम पहले भी हुए होंगे. So take it for granted that there will be something which will go amiss in any human endeavor. So it's not that just because one metro went bad, the other metros are not doing as well. So let it be, just take it with a pinch of salt and accept it.
हाँ, ठीक है, अच्छे,
This is also
या
an experiment, same experiment as BRT.
हाँ, और हाँ देखो, इसमें तो मैं आई एम सेइंग दैट इन फैक्ट I'm a much bigger supporter of the rail to move people even within the cities than I am of cars. Like in Delhi, Delhi Metro has done a phenomenal job. So metro systems are great. I'm just saying, and people sometimes will agree also that many tier 2, tier 3 cities, like Agra has a metro. How big is even Agra to have a metro, you know? So many of these systems don't need a what need does Agra have for a metro? So I'm just saying that there has become a trend and a underlying assumption that you take these big projects up even in smaller districts, smaller cities, where the need has not arisen yet. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. But I feel that supposing Bhopal can be connected through metro only to Sihor, to Hoshangabad, to Vidisha. I think a lot of problem can be sorted
इसमें
there.
तुम्हारी दूसरी बात आ जाती है, लेकिन लेकिन अगर अगर सीहोर में छोटा किसान भी है जिसने कुछ सोलर पार्क लगा लिया अपनी ज़मीन पे, तो उसको महीने के 50-55 हज़ार आ जाते हैं उसी स्कीम से, और भी कुछ इनकम होगी, छोटी खेती बाड़ी वगैरह होगी, तो 17,000 की ईएमआई तो निकाल लेगा। तो उस किसान के पास अगर अपनी स्विफ्ट डिज़ायर है, तो वो क्यों सीहोर से भोपाल मेट्रो में जाएगा? ही विल ड्राइव देयर।
EMI
सो
बंद करो.
ये नो नो एग्जैक्टली, सो दीज आर दिस इज हाउ these are things are
Yeah.
interrelated, right? So this is the idea of this conversation. Do realize
Yeah.
how deeply we are
That's
connected
what
with
I'm
these.
saying. Na, ki everything is. I started by saying that everything is so deeply interconnected that just by tweaking out one problem, you're not solving the issue. You probably are complicating the issue further. So if you have to deal, if you're looking for a solution has to come in very systematically. It has to come, and it has to be dealt at different levels.
So how would you have done it? Like let's take that for example, you are Minister for Housing and Urban Affairs of Government of India. And don't discredit yourself. तुम बोलोगी मेरे पास क्या एक्सपीरियंस है, तुम बहुत पढ़ी लिखी इंसान हो, तो बताओ how would you deal with this problem? What would be your steps?
Again, the solution will be very, very, I mean, solution may take a generation for you to actually see the effects of the problem solving. The problem solving will take at least a generation to see its impact on reality. सबसे पहले, I won't create smart cities. I'll create very self-sufficient agrarian societies where the interdependence with they're so self-sufficient that number one, the migration has to stop.
It's a very important
The
point, ma.
migration has to stop. If the migration doesn't stop, the urban clusters will be overburdened by humans that it can't deal with. So what you see in the urban landscapes these days is humanity spilling like as if I don't want to use that term, but humanity is spilling from every
Beyond a
corner.
capacity with that we
Beyond
can
the
I
capacity. I
don't.
was reading somewhere that if Delhi, for example, if Delhi was only ready to handle 10 lakh people, it is handling maybe 1 CR, 2 CR, 3 CR, 5 CR people. So how can that infrastructure not crumble? Then still in the villages, even if we are most populous country of the world, still in villages there are large areas available. Still in villages and small towns you can go and find yourself a decent living, provided you have something to do there. You can economically sustain yourself. So my first step would be to make every inch of India so sustainable for livelihood that nobody has to go and converge at one place. That is what is leading to the problem. The
Yeah.
problem that Delhi, all the metros face today is not the problem that probably tier 3 cities of the country is facing right now. But if tier 3 city could take the burden of giving employability, giving employment, or maybe creating an infrastructure where people could grow economically, then why would they all converge here? Then it'll all be. So that'll be my first step if I.
That's a very important point, ma'am, because in the last episode I was talking to Krishangi, and we spoke a bit about Bihar elections, and a major factor affecting the election this time is the discussion around migration, right? So you also need to see that migration as a function of migration as a function of lack of employment and lack of employability, and this happens at every stage. Like there's for example, an educated MBA sort of person from Ranchi, he's not going to stay on in Ranchi because he'll probably get a job in Hyderabad, Gurgaon, or Mumbai. Or even now, say for example, a very lower middle class farmer from rural West Bengal, he is probably better suited for a role in the margins, the blue collar workforce as they call, somewhere in Gurgaon, somewhere in Delhi, somewhere in Mumbai. So there's migration happening at all levels. It's not like sirf
Only
bahut,
the white
yeah,
collar job is my
yeah, and it's not like even not like just the labor force is migrating or the blue collar workers. Even it's happening at all levels because a proportionate increment to job creation is not being made, even in the better performing states. Like I would say, Hyderabad, Gurgaon,
then
एंड बॉम्बे, इन तीन जगहों को छोड़ के और कहीं नई जॉब्स आ नहीं रहे हैं.
then we come to another problem.
बैंगलोर ऑल्सो, सॉरी.
No, then we come to another problem. And that problem is the population.
या
We are, by no stretch of imagination, I can imagine a government that can promise job to every single youth of this country. Get China here. China, only Chinese can give us employment or put all the Indians to work. China kind of system can put all of us to work. But believe me, no democratic structure will be ever in a position to give employment to every single youth of this country. And I'm not saying that I admire China for that.
बट आई डू
वो
आई
वाट लगाएगा ऐसे लोगों की ना,
I
वो अलग
heavily
बात है.
heavily admire the Chinese, and
हाँ, so we
not to
need
say
that kind of
that,
a system.
yeah.
So now coming back to how population, like how, even if I supposing create a job for, maybe I make like 20,000 job or maybe 1 lakh job, like Bihari politicians are promising all kind of random figures to people in terms of job that they will offer to the people. Chalo, if I offer you 20,000 job, where am I going to create it? Even if I create it, are there only 20,000 people who are looking for the job, or 2 lakh people who are looking for the job? There are other 10 lakhs waiting to be employed.
Yeah.
How will you create that many jobs?
Yeah.
That is my point. So now we come, migration के बाद आता है population. मतलब माइग्रेशन के भी नीचे का जो सबसे बेस प्रॉब्लम है वो है पॉपुलेशन.
Yeah, इसमें भी तुम्हारी बात सही है. Partially, I disagree with you. Only on the note that, let's say, and I agree with you that the government shouldn't be giving people jobs, and it's not even the job to give. It's not. It's not the
agree.
mandate of the government to
I
give you.
just said it.
Yeah, there's a limitation on what the
Government
state
can do.
exchequer can handle. I do think that.
No, sorry,
I'll just finish.
Just for
अरे
a
यार.
second, I'll interrupt. You burr yourself. एक बार से. I'm not saying क्यों हम बोले कि government नहीं job दे सकती. That's because everybody is whipping any government for the lack of job market that they have created. There's no job, they keep saying. So that is why inadvertently the onus of giving job falls on the government.
Yeah, I just want to say, Ma, that the government is responsible, however, for the creation of a environment that facilitates job creation. And here I will blame, for example, our northern states, the governments of Punjab, Haryana, even the union government, for enabling agricultural policies that build up so much risk aversion in our farmers that they have become totally dependent on regular doles from the government for their survival. So they don't experiment, for example, with horticulture or floriculture or any other crops which are not, draining out our water resources. So this is one example of how I think the government is also creating very lazy solutions to problems that need innovation.
Tried it, na?
Government tried it, and I think they should not have gone back on farm laws. That's a very deep, long discussion for another day. I also think now that the government was very prudent to reform and restructure the GST slabs. It was a long time coming. I'm a big supporter of that. So I'm not saying that I'm not, like I said, I'm a bit pragmatic. So I'm not looking to blame the government everywhere. But the areas where it needs to be more innovative, that innovative thinking is not being done. And every country or in our personal life also, we all reach a stage where we think that if I don't make bold decisions now, the rest of my life I will just be average. and that happens with governments also and nations also, that if you don't take bold reforms now, the next few generations will have to see a lot of economic hardship, because major bold decisions need to be made in
Okay,
today's day.
you ask me a question,
Yeah.
I'll ask you a question. Now, supposing in a position to kind of initiate a reform in the country, what would have been your boldest action vis-a-vis that? What
uh,
bold action would have you taken?
my first few reforms would have been to simplify even further the tax infrastructure. I would not tax digital assets as heavily. I would make sure,
What digital assets?
like cryptocurrencies and all
Okay.
that, the government taxed it on 30% in one of our budgets. I would make it a more friendly destination for that. I would urge, sometimes even strong arm, the state governments to attract investors, lower tax rates to the point that I would, for example, urge the finance minister to rethink even the existing slab rates in GST. Then I would request state governments to create larger special economic zones that are able to suit the need of industries. For example, I would work on simple things like stable electricity distribution companies, so sorting out their finances, so that when a special economic zone comes into India, they can live with a reliable electricity supply, right? So these things are all tied into each other. So you need, for example, in parts of Bihar, even to this day, better policing. So there's a slew of reforms you need to be able to carry out to attract investors. Why has Uttar Pradesh suddenly become popular again? Because in the last 5-10 years, the policing under this incumbent UP government has become much better. And I mean, it's a small simple arithmetic. If your state is safe, investors will invest. If the police works better than other states, the UP police, for example, got a better reputation than the West Bengal police, BCG will come and make an office right inside Lucknow.
Yeah,
It's
rocket
not rocket
science.
science.
Yeah, yeah. But
So
that's where the China model comes in.
yeah.
Remember, we've been talking about SEZs for past 15, 20 years now.
Yeah.
How it all started with Ratan Tata asking for some land in Calcutta from
Yeah.
Mamta Didi, and there were so many lobbies, so many those little interest groups which came to fore criticizing SEZs and going on dharnas and blocking trains, and they did so much. I may be wrong, maybe I'm exaggerating the past right now because memory is a little blurred, but I remember there was so much of opposition to it that probably a reform that could have really made a lot of difference, or the reform which is now acceptable, that in past, in those times, people did not have the foresight to accept it and give it a green signal.
Yeah, fair. I think, like, and if you ask me, for example, there will have to come a point where we start experimenting with agricultural policy, which is more than just public procurement. We need to make our farmers more entrepreneurial. We need to start really experimenting with the ideas of horticulture products and floriculture kind of things to make the farmers' incomes also more augmented. But part of it will also require the farmers to take that plunge, right? And if the politics starts misleading them from very short termist agendas, then the farmers will also not take a risk, because politicians will not enable the right kind of environment. There is very there is very little evidence that a politician has. I'm quoting the print journalist DK Singh on this. Very little evidence that a politician has that the public is not short termist. So the politicians will only make decisions that are looking at a 2 year, 3 year horizon, right? At best, the next assembly election, at best, the next Lok Sabha election. As a result, these long term 50, 100 years, तो तुम जो starting में बोल रही थी वो तो बहुत लंबा time frame है. So I guess that's my
नहीं
take.
तो एक एक चेंज आते आते हाफ अ सेंचुरी लग जाता है, प्रॉपर चेंज आते आते, जो इतना डीप होता है और इतना फार रीचिंग होना जो होता है, तो changes are not easy to come, and then you have to change public perception about things around them. I mean, it's a multi pronged battle that you're fighting when you're thinking of change. The change that has to come from every aspect of human existence. Then only the change is successful. But you should do this with me more often, because I've just realized I've lost my capacity to form a single correct statement because I don't have anybody to talk
No,
to in
but I think
English
I think
anymore.
I
So
think
my
you're
brain is
overthinking.
suffering.
I think you're overthinking because you spoke very well.
Did I?
Yeah, yeah.
I'll have to see, I'll have to go through it again to
Yeah.
understand if I spoke well.
Thank you for joining us, man.
Thank you for making me, bringing me on the show.